to What Do You Want to Do, the show that will hopefully help you figure out what you want to do in life or reconnect you to what you love doing. Each show has a guest who is doing what they want to do, whether it's in their career or in addition to their regular job. Most importantly, we want to help you realize that no matter your age, you too can do what you want to do if you have the will to do it. Now here's your host, Leonard Kaplan.
Hi, and welcome to part 2 of my interview with Dawn Allcott. On this final part, it's very short, but it's very important if you're interested in following her footsteps into being a writer or an entrepreneur or both. She will explain her pathway on how she got there, and maybe you'll get some ideas. So stick with us. You mentioned copy editing. So can you describe how copy editing is different from regular editing or copywriting? I know copywriting is a whole other thing.
It can get really confusing. Copywriting is writing the copy for ads. It's for advertisements. Mm-hmm. So your number one goal is to sell. That's it. I'm going to add another one in there for you, content writing, which is mostly what I do. And that your goal is marketing, but you're not going in for the hard sell. You're educating people about the products, the lifestyle, whatever it might be, that ultimately the copywriters are trying to sell, but you're not responsible for the actual sales. What you want to probably do is get people interested enough in what you wrote that they're going to read what the copywriters wrote. Mm-hmm. Copy editing is for all forms of editorial. And it's basically just making sure that the work is grammatically correct, easy to read, meets the target audience and the voice that you're going for. So every publication has its own unique voice. As a copy editor, it would be your responsibility to make sure that the articles match that voice and those editorial goals. And nowadays, you would also want someone that knows enough about SEO to make sure the keywords are in there and that it's written to be search engine friendly as well. And then editing would be more of the overall, you're just putting out the publication, whether it's digital or print.
Right. Okay. Now let's go back to when you were a teenager and you could look into the future to see what you're doing now. Is there anything that you would like to do that you've never gotten a chance to do that maybe you discovered when you were young and you maybe wanted to try it but never got a chance?
I mean, like be the editor-in-chief of Cosmo would have been like, back then it would have been my goal. But the job that I'm doing right now didn't even exist when I was in high school. Like we wouldn't be talking. How would I have imagined talking on a Zoom with someone 600 miles away with a video? Like this was Back to the Future stuff. I'm making myself feel really old saying that, but it's true.
Wait, I don't even know where you are. You in Florida?
I'm in New York.
Oh, you're in New York. Okay, I did not know that.
We're about
you mentioned New York earlier.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, there's snow outside.
Yeah, there's snow here too.
Yeah. Back then when I first found out that journalism was a career, freelance writing was a career, magazine editors existed. There were people that, I was the type that I would grab when I was like 10, 12 years old. I was grabbing my mom's Good Housekeeping and Cosmo and Redbook and all those magazines and just reading them. When I realized someone has to put all that together, I realized I wanted that to be me. So if I could go back, I would want to be like the editor of Redbook or Real Simple or Cosmo or one of these top glamour publications. But the reality is, and this is what happened, this was the mind shift that I had when I left Testa Communications and the trade magazines in 2001. I said, well, right now I have like 5 years experience with a trade magazine. I'm right at the age demographic. I could make that transition and become like managing editor at Glamour. but it required going to the city. And at that point, that was not viable for me.
Right.
So looking back, I mean, I forget which publication it is that just recently laid off half their staff and got rid of the print magazine portion of it. It's just, it would be a 1 in a million long shot now. And it's not something that I would even want to do thinking back. I love the freedom and the flexibility that freelancing gives.
That's great. It's a great reason to be in freelancing then. So now, what would you tell young people who are watching this or listening to this interview as to what should they do to prepare themselves for a career such as yours?
I would look very broad-based. Like I said, when I, graduated college, my career that I'm doing right now did not exist. So learn as much as you can about all branches of media, because who knows what's going to be around maybe you'll get out of college and you'll be able to become a content writer or a publication editor like Dan is right now or something like that. But 10 years down the line, who knows what the next thing is going to be? So get as much education, learn as much as you can about as many elements of media as you can, because I never imagined myself that I'd be comfortable talking on a podcast, yet it's part of the media experience. Just really, and then if you're interested in the writing aspect specifically that I'm doing, learn the basics of writing. Know how to put together sentences, know how to put together a good lead, know the different types of leads that you can write. And I was taught that a little bit in college, not at all in high school. It was primarily out in the working world, like working with Dan and the mentors that we had, where I learned all that. So just now it's a whole new world, because you can go online and you can get certified as an SEO writer through HubSpot. There's plenty of programs out there. Like, don't neglect what you can be self-taught. Go to college for the networking connections and the credentials, but don't be afraid to pursue an education outside of that is going to help you in your field. Learn SEO, learn how to be an influencer, learn social media, learn video, and learn how to write.
And what about the business aspect? Because I guess you're an independent contractor, no?
Yeah. Well, actually, back in 2011, when I started earning 6 figures, I became an S Corp, and it worked out really well.
What is that?
Because now I have these different divisions. It's a way of filing taxes where you don't have S Corp. S Corp, yeah. So I'm actually, everything that I write is billed under Allcott Media Marketing, which works out really well because I have these different publications. I have Geek Travel Guide, I have Keto Journey, and I have my other writing. But as a 1099 independent contractor, my best piece of advice is get a good tax accountant. Don't go to like H&R Block or whatever. Get a good tax accountant who understands small business. And that really saved my life in showing me, and kept me out of trouble, showing me what I can deduct, what I can't deduct, and how to minimize that tax liability. So that's the first thing. And then just treat it like a business. Like, wake up every morning and go to your desk and put in the work. There are so many different tracking sheets and programs out there. You can use anything. You can use Monday, Teamworks, Basecamp. There are so many project management software programs you can use. Find something that works for you. For me, I track most of my work on an Excel sheet because it works for me. But you need some sort of system to keep track. And I think if you go into it with the mindset that you're running a business, you're not going to have to worry as much, because you're going to know that you need to put systems in place. Bookkeeping software, Quicken and QuickBooks, are both great. They have other cheap software people can use. I just, again, use my Excel sheet because it works for me.
Wow, that's really good information. Because I think, when you're in business, you assume everybody else knows how to do that. So that's very good information for people coming up, I think.
It was something that it took me a while because in the beginning, I was just tracking all my assignments on a whiteboard. So it was in front of my face. It took me a while. And then I ran the gamut of trying every project management software and realized that what works for me is just an Excel sheet. So it's really explore the options out there, but find what's going to work for you. And if anyone out there is starting a business, whether it's a website or wants to get into content writing or whatever, I just want to invite them to reach out to me because I can definitely offer more information and details and places to look. I love doing things like that.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Dawn, for that valuable information for a lot of people, maybe even myself. And thank you for coming on What Do You Want to Do? And any last words for the audience?
I would say just don't give up on your dreams. Like I'm sitting here and from 8th grade when I realized freelance writer was a thing, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I took sort of a circuitous route to it. But here I am doing it. And, to have a byline on sportsillustrated.com is kind of a big deal to me. Even like I'm trying to, even with all my thousands of published articles, that's a big deal. Don't give up your dreams. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Find the mentors and the resources to help you.
Very good. So thank you very much. Dawn Allcott has been my guest, and I thank her for coming on. Thanks for joining me on my interview with Dawn Allcott, Part 2. Join me again next time for another guest, another discipline, another hobby, another interest. And until then, what do you want to do?